To another episode of Footballers Only. I'm Mikey Diokitis.
I'm James Panay.
And today we have a special guest.
I'm Mario Wimberly, Chief Visionary Officer, TC Soul Futsal, and also co-founder of Soul of the City, Serve to Play Futsal League in Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Good to be here. Thank y'all.
Welcome, Mario. Welcome, Mario. All right, Mario. It's been a minute. You know, we've been chopping it up a little bit. Let's just get into it. Where does your football story begin?
So for me, probably this is mid 80s. Say I grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Parents from the South, from Louisiana, so they moved to Minneapolis for better quality of life for us. Coming from the South right after the civil rights and things like that. You know, the migration of Black people into the North. So as a young kid, I don't come from a whole bunch of money. I come from a lot of love, but I don't come from a whole bunch of money. So, moved around quite a bit as a kid. And, our travels took us to the suburbs. One of those years, I think I probably was 8 years old. I noticed that a lot of kids were playing soccer at recess. So, I just went out there. I probably didn't even touch the ball because, I didn't know what I was doing. But that's what everybody was playing. And one thing, I told my kids this story one night. Another thing was all the kids who played soccer on the rec team had these cool jackets. And I was like, man, I got to get one of them jackets. So that was, I'm going to keep it real. That was one of the reasons that I played was for the jacket. But, so I had the jacket. But I said, man, it's a fun game. And listen, it's unorganized. We had the big. They didn't have the small goals. So it was regulation size goals. We running probably 100 yards, just kicking the ball and running. So that was my first introduction. And then, I went home and I said, Mom, they playing soccer. Mom, soccer? Yeah. Because all they know is football and basketball.
Yeah.
So I said, I want to play soccer. My cousins making fun of me and all that kind of stuff because I'm playing soccer. But that's how much I love the game. It was just fun. For me, I always say that's the base of the game. It's just fun. That's the first thing. That's how you fall in love with it. So fell in love with that. Mom signed me up for the local travel team. I was thinking about this. They had a tryout. They called it a tryout, and it was ridiculous. I mean, they had different stations, and one of the stations was how far can you kick the ball, and you get points. However far the ball goes, you can get 10 points if it goes this far, 15. So, so this is my introduction into the game. And then, whoever had the most points, they make the A team. And then another guy make the B team. So, back then, man, they put me on the B team. I was so mad. I didn't know what to do. I don't like being on the B teams. So, I kept working at it, man. And, just kept playing. And then, like I said, in 1986, that World Cup in Mexico, I believe. And that's the one when Maradona got loose. And I say, man, who is this little dude in this light blue shirt? He was, I'm like, man. So when that happened, I used to my mom bought me a ball. We stayed in an apartment. I used to go out in the common area and just kind of dribble around and do what I could. And, then I just started playing every summer with the local teams. And as I began to get more into the game, I used to read. We had a magazine. There was no internet. So we had a publication called Soccer Times. I don't know if y'all heard of that. I used to read Soccer Times and Soccer America. It was hard to get soccer over here. I'm being honest. It was hard, y'all. Like, it wasn't on TV. We had a local indoor team in my area. It's called the Minnesota Strikers. And my mom, she's I think the tickets were like $8 or whatever. She used to take me over there. And, I kind of fell in love with that team. They folded in like 2 years. But for those couple years that it was over there, I used to go and watch indoor soccer. So that was really my only live soccer that I ever saw in the 80s was indoor soccer. So I watched a lot of that, and I had favorite players and all this stuff. So I keep playing the game. And then, one day I saw a flyer come out that said ODP tryouts. And I didn't even know what ODP was, but I kind of read into it and felt like it was a select team. I said, man, let's see what's up. So my mom took me out there, and I think this was I was U13, so I probably was 12 years old. And, I ended up making that team. And from there, is when I started thinking, man, this is, I like this game, and it's, I'm kind of going to be more serious about it. Because at the time I was playing American football and I was playing a little bit of basketball. But, once I got into 7th grade, and plus the kids start getting too big. I left that alone, and I said I'm just gonna play ball. So that was really my introduction, and I just became a student of the game, just loving it, trying to find out, as much as I could, watching the Mexican League, because that we had that in Spanish. I didn't know who was playing, but I was just watching that, and so that's how my love affair with the game began, and then it just went on from there. But that's the introduction. So it's recess, man.
Yeah. I mean, I have so many questions, like so many. But before we even go far, just the last thing you said about the Mexican League. So, what's your favorite team in the Mexican League?
Well, I didn't even know the teams back then. I watch the league occasionally now, but it's not a league I really follow. I mean, I follow the big leagues, but back then I was just happy to just, be watching soccer on Sunday, because we could, like I said, we literally couldn't get it. I watched indoor soccer occasionally. I think ESPN had a couple, like the playoffs they would show, and this is like Minnesota Strikers against the Dallas Sidekicks, and I thought this is what the game was, not knowing that, the indoor, I mean, it's still the game, you know what I'm saying? But it's not, yeah, so
all did FIFA approve? I don't think so. No.
Yeah, I don't think
it's
so.
It's not. I don't think
it's kind of a hybrid of a few different things going on, but the essences of the game, and they used to run camps and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't even know what the teams I was watching, man. I was just happy to watch. Because like I said,
have another question too. Another coach.
Yeah.
So those jacket you wanted, what kind of jacket was it?
So man, the name of the town was it was Burnsville, and it was black and yellow, and all the kids had Burnsville on the back, but on the sleeve they had soccer balls. So I guess like it just showed like I'm a soccer player. Nice. And then I think when they went to some kind of tournaments, they had a patch on, and I was like, man, this looked major. So I had to get a jacket.
So you see how like we can see your your logo and emblem in the back.
Yeah,
and it's yellow and black with a soccer ball. You see that?
Man.
You see that?
That's a good point.
That's how these things. Just, like the seeds were planted long time ago.
No, y'all right. Because let me say this quick. So that logo, and you have to be from Minnesota to know this, or ever watched a lot of indoor soccer, and I didn't know this when we created it. It's really a play on the Minnesota Strikers. If you ever pull up Minnesota Strikers, the indoor team from the 80s, it's a big logo with the Minnesota looking very similar. Not we added some things, kind of sauce it up a little bit, but that just left an impression on me clearly, because when we designed this, I didn't even really think. But then I said, hey, wait, that looked like the Minnesota Strikers. So it was like you said, it's those early impressions, man. It's environment. Environment is key. Y'all know that.
Yes. Okay. So you said something funny about the tryouts, right?
Oh yeah.
But before we even get to that tryout, was the when you try out for ODP, was it similar? At 12, what was that tryout like?
So ODP was it was not. So ODP, they had a clue of what was going on. That was my first introduction to not having a non-parent coach. Before, everybody, it was like somebody's dad as a parent coach at the I would say Rec Plus program that I was in. When I went to ODP, this is the first time when I had an English coach. That was a big thing back in the 80s. You get a coach and they got an English accent, you think you on. I was like, man, we going pro. This guy got this accent, man, we're gonna be good. So I remember my coach, I remember him, man. He had the ODP jacket. I'm into these jackets, y'all. He had the ODP jacket. It was by Zara. Y'all ever heard of Zara?
Yes.
Yeah, they had the Zara jacket with the Minnesota ODP. So, but the ODP tryout was a little more, it was something more similar than we'll see today, which is just kind of letting the kids play, and they're kind of evaluating and things like that. But like I said, that program I was in before, they had the juggling station, how far can you kick station, the punt station. And I'm like, I'm not even a keeper. Why am I punting this ball? But like I said, man, youth development has come a long way in this country, though, since the 80s, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Okay, all right. So, I mean, there's a lot of comedy there that we could go into. But let's. So, okay. so you start playing. I mean, you get introduced to the game at recess, and then those jackets really caught your attention, and you linked up with the team. You did that crazy tryout, and then you said '86. You watch Maradona get busy, and in Argentina. Did you watch the Argentina England game?
I believe so. I mean, I've watched it since. If I back then, I just remember Maradona. I mean, he was scoring. How many goals did y'all know? How many goals did he have? Did he win a golden?
Yeah.
Golden Boot?
He had like 11 in the
Yeah, he
entire
was.
tournament.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm asking,
Is that the hand of God? Is that hand of God?
the hand of God.
Okay, yeah.
In the same game, the hand of God was first, but then in the next goal, right? The reason I'm asking is because, like you, that next goal, when Maradona scored that goal, for me, it was a pivotal moment as a child and as a footballer, because what happened, my experience when that happened, the next day, actually later that day and the next couple months, we all went outside, and in pickup, in games, whatever, we try to recreate the same, how he starts out on the right, right? He starts out on the right, beats the guy, turns, push it, like comes to the keeper, push it, and then slides it in. Like, we literally try to recreate that same thing every time we play. And so that's what I was gonna ask you was, did you have a similar experience after you saw that? Was it ingrained in your mind that I need to do this? Like, I need to I mean, this guy's amazing. I need to be like him.
Well, it may not have been that moment that I can remember, but when I just saw, I even watched how Maradona used to warm up. So let me tell y'all, I wore Puma Kings because Maradona wore them. I didn't lace my Puma Kings in warm up because he didn't. It's all these kind of things, just like kids are with Michael Jordan or LeBron or these other sports. So and just watching him, to warm up when he's juggling, he got the rhythm going. He hit the ball up in the air. That first touch is so clean, pancake touch. Ugh. I was like, man, I didn't know that kind of stuff could be done with a ball, because now, mind you, I'm watching indoor soccer, not to slight those dudes in no kind of way, but I'm saying there's levels, you know what I mean?
I mean, no, you can't compare. There's no comparison.
There's no comparison. So I'm like, whoa. So no, I definitely, I don't remember a specific moment, but I do just remember just his aura, his confidence on the ball. Just, he kind of was like, man, I'm the GOAT. Facts. And I know it,
Facts.
So that's swag that he had.
Yeah. And during that time, there was, there was a competition between, because Pele was still holding on, and so Maradona had to like puff up his chest, and that World Cup was his moment.
That was coming out,
to say, all right, it's my time now. Okay.
And no disrespect to Pele though, because that's one of my all-time different era, different players. We always argue this, and it's hard to compare eras just because of the physicality and maybe but Pele, I mean, stuff he was able to do at the age he was doing it at, and it's just that's unbelievable too.
Yeah, I mean, what I tell people is, and luckily now it's easier actually, because even from YouTube or Netflix or whatever it is, you can spend a whole weekend just watching documentaries, because don't even watch, just watch raw footage of these guys, and you will realize the things. And it's crazy, because when we see Neymar or Messi or any of these guys do things now, right, and they can still, and it's still wow now, right? And everybody's been training for 40 plus years. Everybody has the best nutrition. They're wearing the best cleats, the best turf,
best everything.
If you watch Pele in the 60s and 70s, he was doing those things then.
With heavy boots on, all that stuff.
Imagine being the player on the other end. It looked like you're in the we're talking about video WWE. It literally, that's what it looked like. It was like this.
I've never seen it before.
There's nothing I could do. Where's he? He's going. You just move, So
he built different, guys, man. Built different.
Yeah. Those guys. I mean, they're in a whole nother. There's beyond levels.
Yeah.
Okay. So since you brought up Maradona, who was he your football idol as a child?
Hands down. Him. So he was most people in my era, that's who it was. For sure, him. And then he came back in the 90 World Cup and was doing this thing. And then he kind of, the next one, they kind of fell off a little bit, if I'm not mistaken, at 90. Yeah.
94.
But I also, like I told y'all, the area I come from, I didn't see myself in the game. So John Barnes was another guy who I love from England, and played for Liverpool. Who else did I? Frank Rijkaard, Ruud Gullit, all these guys. I had their posters on my wall because, like I said, I when I saw that, hey, we play this game, this people look like me. Those were my guys. So but Maradona was my number one. But then I start finding domestic guys like Des Armstrong, and Jimmy Banks, these kind of guys who were on the national team, and then all those guys who played for the U.S. because the U.S. was my favorite. It was my favorite team, even though it was a national squad. They didn't play all the time. I really followed them pretty close.
Really, that's interesting. Okay, so you kind of already started, but it may not be the same. So this is a question we ask everyone, and since you're a footballer, even your son might get at you with some of your responses. There's no right answer. I mean, anything, no matter what you say, there's gonna be people you leave out, right? Or right. People are gonna find issues with it. So the question is, who's in your top 11 footballers of all time? Your top 11.
Yeah, it can be any kind of order too.
Yeah. It can be all forwards.
Not by position. Okay.
Yeah, it can be all keepers. It can be any era. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna go Pelé. We're gonna go Diego Armando Maradona for sure. We're gonna go Ronaldinho just because I think he revolutionized the game. I'm gonna say Messi. I'm not a Messi fan, but I'm gonna say Messi. I'm gonna say Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm going to say hold on. Who else do I want to put in there? I'm gonna have to put Way in there because first the only African footballer to win it, win the Ballon d'Or. So I'm gonna go with him. I'm gonna go with I'm probably gonna go with Cruyff in there. How many is that?
Seven.
Seven.
Yeah.
Okay. Who else I want to put in there? Oh, I gotta put Neymar in there, and that he probably didn't make a lot of people's, but he's on mine. I'm missing. Romario. I like Romario. How many more I got?
Two more.
Two more. I need a keeper though. I gotta give some love to a keeper. But maybe not. Let me see. I'm gonna say Henri, because he was just nasty. And then, man, it's so many. I'm leaving out. I only got one more. I'm gonna do this one. I'm just doing for controversy, but I really liked it. I really liked the way what he did in the World Cup. I'm gonna throw Roger Mila in there just for controversy.
Okay.
From Cameroon, just for it's some controversy, man. Yeah, it's some controversy.
Okay, you forgot Zidane.
I did forget that. It's so many. Mila was my, that was
that's a good icon.
Because no one's gonna really, they don't really, he don't really get his credit. And I talk to my son. We do this all the time, and he'll have all new guys. I mean, a couple old guys because he studies the game. But I could go on and on. It's so many, bro. It's so many.
I mean, that's a solid list. I mean, given the list that you just named, what position did you play? I mean, what was your position?
I figure you were forward, I think.
Right.
No, well, when you're playing U10, everybody forward. So I started out a forward. The first game I think I played forward. But as I moved up into competitive, I guess they will call it travel, and then high school, and then at college, I was playing. I played right back a lot in high school, and then I ended up playing sweeper. Y'all remember that position when they played with sweepers? Yeah. And then I played holding mid after that. After high school, so and then I always thought I was an attacking player, but for somehow I was always in the back line. I don't know. That's somebody to think about.
Yeah, well, all
But
your
yeah.
players.
Well, I mean, that's a whole nother discussion. We're gonna do a whole nother podcast on that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know what we're talking about. That whole piece, right? That's a whole nother piece. But okay, so let's go back to, you know, you kind of brought it up just now. You know, you after Iraq, you went into travel more competitively, and then walk us through pretty much travel in high school to where you are now.
Yeah, so like I said, once I got on that ODP team, I then I don't know how I found this club, but it's still a club. But I was like one of the first when it first started. It's still going on now, and they're recognized nationally, especially on the girls' side. It's a really strong club. I won't say their name because it's not important, but that's where I really learned how to play. Like we had coaches that had actually gone over to Brazil and kind of just took in the culture, and probably that's how I was introduced to soccer, tennis, and fitness and just being a soccer player. So that club kind of, got me in the trajectory to really just taking it to the next level. So what was the question? I'm sorry, bro. After that.
No, so so after you started playing at that club, and then what were the next steps, and leading up to where you are now?
Yeah, so man, I'm just thinking I got to put Sergio Ramos on my list too. Man, I'm tripping. That's my guy.
I know.
Yeah,
you left out Roberto Carlos.
Roberto Carlos, I know.
You left out David.
My guys. Yeah, it's a lot, man.
You left
anyway,
out...
sorry. Y'all, that's a tough question, man. That's tough.
It is a tough question.
That's tough. But so that club I played for, and then like I said, I remember studying because there was no pathway either back when I was it wasn't as carved out as it is now. Yeah. So I went on to I think I was about in 8th grade, and I had the high school coach of the one of the better high school teams where I went come to my house with my mom and say, hey, we really like this kid, we want him to come to high school here. So I was playing like sophomore ball when I was in 8th grade, which was good for development because I was I won't say undersized. I was probably the regular size of a 8th grader, but I was playing against 10th graders. So these kids technically were poor for overall, but they were big and fast and physical. So that was something I had to adjust. So it was good for development as I look at it in hindsight. So I did that. And then my freshman year, I was fortunate enough to play varsity all 4 years and on a pretty good team. So I think I was 14 or probably 14 when I was a freshman playing against 18-year-olds. Again, very physical kids, were faster, more developed. So that I learned a lot from that. So that was pretty fun. My high school career was fun. Was the captain of the team and that kind of stuff. I was an all conference, all metro, and all state player in the state of Minnesota by my senior year. So I had a lot of local colleges, and even I was also playing ODP still. So we used to go on the regional, like we were Region 2. We used to go to the regional events where they college exposure and things like that. So I went to some region camps and got a few letters from a few schools and a couple D1s and some D2, some D3 schools, because at the time in my area, we didn't have D1. We just got a D1 men's program in my area last year. So that was going on, but I had always, in my research when I was a kid, I remember I was in 7th, 8th grade, and I said, man, I was looking up college, college soccer, because college soccer was like pro back when I was coming up. There was no pro unless you played that indoor. So I said, man, look at this school, Howard University. And I had already heard about Howard. And I said, man, they got an all-black team playing soccer? Wow. And then there was another one, I think Alabama A&M at the time. Those were the two on the men's side. Well, I don't even think there was no black schools playing women's soccer then. So there was 2 black schools that had soccer. So I began to research those. And then, academically, Howard was, stronger. And I remember I went and, got a Howard sweatshirt, and, I just kind of started researching and as much as I could. There was no TV or publication. Plus, Howard was far away from me. So so that's how that went. And then, I was also talking to a couple other schools, and then when it came down to it, I just really wanted to go to Howard. So I contacted the coaches there, my mom, and we had no know-how. This is all just determination and grit. We made highlight tapes. My mom hired this on low money. I mean, she hired a guy that we knew from her job, and he was filming it. And when I think back though, that quality, wasn't the best, man. But we was doing what we could. So got those tapes out to different coaches and stuff, and contact, got in contact with the coaches at Howard, and legendary coaches, Coach Tucker and Coach Landy, rest in peace, and begin a dialogue, and actually one of my ODP coaches was I played with his son. His son went to Evansville and played, and that was one of the schools that had contacted me as well back then. His dad was Jamaican, and he was a very good coach. One of my favorite coaches at the time. He actually knew the coaches, and he put in a word for me and things like that. So I was able to attend Howard and play for that legendary program under those coaches, and play with some pretty good players out there. A couple guys that went pro and what have you. And then after that experience, it's pretty much like that was back then. If that was kind of it, unless you were even the guys at Howard who went on to play pro, it wasn't a clear pathway now like the younger kids have with homegrown and academies, and it was none of that. It was like I don't even know what the pathway was. So that was pretty much like the end of the plan, in terms of competitively. I mean, of course, I'm gonna play pickup. I'll play some pickup now, but I'm saying with the team and what have you. So that's kind of the end of the playing piece. And then as I'm having kids, I'm still watching the game, and not like I am now. As soon as I have a son, now I'm back in the game 100%. Like, I might have a baller now. Let's start pumping those balls up, putting them on the floor. Soccer starts at home, and that's a whole nother. We can get into that too. That's my whole developmental push. But in terms of the playing, like I said, it was met a lot of fun people, met a lot of great people through the game. We always talk about the competitive side of the game and the love and all that, which is important too. But just think about all the people we meet in the game too, and that, it's even with my program, and now a lot of the people that are helping out or that coach for my summer programs, these are guys that I played high school with. I still talk to a lot of my college teammates, and consult with them on things. And a lot of them are still involved in the game too. So that's the thing too about the game, because every kid is not going to go pro. I mean, we want to, but it's just, that's not the reality. So I always try to make sure these kids get experiences and meeting people in the game too.
Yeah.
I don't like it, especially when you're saying when you had that guy that did the film for your to take it to Howard, take it to college and stuff like that. Like your mom didn't even understand nothing about the game. What kept you going though? Like, I mean, this can be a lot of kids, especially nowadays. What kept you going?
I think, honestly, like I said, when your parents aren't, and it just depends on the environment you grow up in. My mom's was always gonna support anything I did to the best of her ability, and she did a good job of that. But when I look at what it takes to really, and y'all probably have similar stories to get, in football to get really go far, you need a support system. I mean, you need a strong one. And I'm telling you that now because, my son's in academy, and his mom and I, we go, football up and down, it's ups and downs, and you got to ride the wave, and you got to be mentally tough, and you have to understand a lot of things. And sometimes, it helps to have that. So I think I could have had more support around that. And I'm not blaming anybody for that. I'm just saying, as you're a young player and you encounter certain things, you may not know how to deal with that. Like, let's say you got a coach that, you feel like, oh, I don't like my coach, or why is my coach doing this? There's been times when my kids, and my daughter who plays rec, but she still loves the game. Dad, my coach is this and that. And then we walk through the process. When you don't have that, you lean to your own, interpretation of things as a young person. You may be, making some mistakes here and there, but really just the passion of loving the game, just and wanting to be the best. When when you play and you're getting recognized as you're an all-state player, you're, twice all conference, all metro in high school, or, you play ODP and you go in, you say, hey, I can go somewhere in this game. So really just the love of the game and just wanting to be good at it. I think that's what, kind of kept me going. But of course there was some pitfalls and, some things that when I look back, I would have done differently. But like I said, I use those experiences now with young players and my son, especially, and my daughter, and young players, because I've gone through that and I'm trying to make sure that, they know how to get to the next step, as much as I can. And if I don't know, I reach out to y'all or somebody that I met, who can help them. There's so many resources now, back then it was, soccer was it was a different world back in the 80s and 90s. So.
Yeah. Thank you. Well said.
Yeah. I mean, you pointed something out just now that I want to have you talk more about, though. It's your piece, your development piece is about the game starts at home. And, this is something that we, I mean, it's a common conversation among coaches, right? And trainers and, and folks involved in the game, the importance of so much development work being done, individually at home, the parent creating the environment that cultivates this training. And this takes, to your point, your earlier point, it takes a lot of work for families or parents who are not native to the game. They don't really understand the importance. It's almost like, well, why can't I just bring my kid to, they train with you guys, with the team,
Or an hour,
3 times a week, they get 3 hours of training. Why can't they just be, like the Neymar or Messi or whatever it is? And so, one, I want you to talk more about it, and then we will get into it. Yeah, but just
no, that's a great point. And are y'all familiar? There's a guy. Y'all familiar with any of Tom Byers' work? The guy, he has a book called Soccer Starts at Home. He's a guy, a development guy. I mean, I respect him, his work. There's a lot of guys out there, but he's one of the guys. He has a book that he's over in Asia now. He started like a footballing show over there, and he's developed quite a few kids over there. But so check him out when you get time. But he has this book called Soccer Starts at Home, and I read it, and then I kind of put some of that into practice. Like I said, just with my guinea pigs, my kids. Just giving them that advantage. It's such an advantage if you get a ball at your kids' feet early on. And I'm not saying running sessions or running this WWE stuff that we see, but I'm saying put the ball down, let them get comfortable with the ball like it's a toy. Let them get comfortable with the ball on different surfaces. And we just had a size 2 ball. I mean, and still, if you come to my house now, it's about 10 balls on the. I mean, I'm sure it's the same with y'all. They're all over the place. But I was intentional about that because I knew that, and this is no knock to any program, but for me, no program is going to single-handedly develop your kid. It's a process, just like the kids that you guys work with. You probably have a large part or maybe the majority of the development, but there's other people who are going to pour into their development along the way, or who when they're done or they move away from you, they have those building blocks that they got from you. But when you get those at home, it's so key. I mean, and first touch, I'm just being honest, and it's not like to brag or say, I've just seen this with my kid when he was 6 years old. He was playing U10. The best on the ball, the smallest kid, best on the ball mastery. He was just comfortable. It's just comfort. So I think parents think they have to be so knowledgeable of the game to get the kids started at home. But when we say it starts at home, that doesn't mean you have to be a soccer certified coach or you have to, watch Champions League all the time. No, get the ball, let your kid explore. When your kid picks up the ball, let them run around and then put the ball back on the ground. Or just have the kid use the different surfaces of the foot, inside of the foot, outside of the foot. Teach them how to dribble, how to cut the ball, dribble in a circle, just little things like that. Nothing too complex, but from what I've seen, most kids and almost all of the kids that I've seen who get that head start at home, they just end up being better. They have such a head start on the kids who come, let's say they come to y'all program and the parent, they've never played. Well, now you starting from day one, you know, dribble. It's how you dribble, pinky toe, dude. You know, when these other kids, and I've seen it also when in our program, because I run a program now. Well, all of our programming is free and it's inner city. So I got kids coming from everywhere. But like I said, a lot of the communities where it's a culturally, like we spoke about earlier, these kids have the basics and they're just light years ahead of kids, technically, and even tactically a little bit. You know what I mean? But that doesn't mean these kids can't catch up. But I'm just saying, if you know, I tell my friends who are having kids, you know, younger, hey man, you want them to be a baller, get that ball out early. You know, so that's my thing. I'm big on that. You know, don't count on the club, you know, the personal trainer. That's just like garnish. You know what I mean? You know, you got to get that meat and potatoes, you know, start them at home, put that time in, because you're going to be doing it with something else anyway, if it's video games or it's, you know, the cell phone. So just, you know, carve out some time and make it fun. Make it fun. Little fun games you can do, and kids want to play. So I think if you can get that ball math, you know, I love dribblers. So I think that's the foundation of almost of the game, like skill. Like you got to be able to dribble and hold the ball. If you can't possess the ball, the game is boring. It's boring and kids quit. You know, like in the rec league I had, you know, I started my kids. He dribbled through all these kids, scored a whole bunch of goals. He had fun. The other kid who never touched the ball, he quit next year because it's not fun. So that's my soccer starts at home spill.